If you're thinking about getting an iPad mini, do yourself a favor and get this instead. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. I know that you are probably in the iOS world. I have been too my entire smartphone career. And I have had many iPads, the iPad Pro. In fact, I still have iPads. I have the iPad mini and it's a good little tablet. But what I was realizing is that the iPad mini has some glaring faults. And I think I have solved all of them with this. So let me walk you through why you should get this instead of the iPad mini. All right, so you are probably thinking about buying an iPad mini. If you aren't, you probably aren't watching this video, but maybe the headline grabbed your attention. But what I have here is the Google Pixel Fold. I've been using this a while, so this is a used device, but I actually bought it used as well. And that's going to come into play here in a minute because I want to talk to you about why you should buy the Google Pixel Fold, the current phone. This is out in the market right now. You can buy them brand new or used, and why it is better than the iPad mini. So the first thing that I really love about this is that obviously it's a folding phone. So if I open it up here, what we get is a tablet. And what you can see here is that we have a pretty nice tablet. Now it's kind of square. It's a little more squarish than the rectangular layout of the iPad mini, but I don't think it's a problem. And the screen here is 7.6 inches versus the 8.3 of the iPad mini. So it's only a little bit smaller. And as far as I can tell, when I am using it, it seems to be just as good as the iPad mini. I don't really recognize like this is much smaller or it has a slightly different aspect ratio. The other thing that I love about this is that if you are familiar with the iPad mini, you might not know this, but it does not have facial recognition. So this does. So I can unlock this with my face. Now, because I have a camera pressed up to it, it's not going to do it. But I can also unlock it with a pin, which you can do on the iPad. But the only way that you can really unlock the iPad easily is by using your fingerprint, which this has. So you get the fingerprint reader, which is the same as the iPad mini, or the passcode. But you also get facial recognition with this, which is actually much better. And even in the new versions of the iPad mini, it's speculated that they will not come with the Face ID either because it's actually substantially more hardware, apparently. So this has facial recognition, which is really nice. You will miss facial recognition when you don't have it. I always did on my iPad mini. Now, the other thing I want to show you here is that you have a USB-C port right there. The fast charging ones charge this thing super fast, which is really awesome. The other thing is that right here on the back, we have a wireless charging receiver. So I can throw this in pretty much all of those desktop stands or the car charging pads or wherever and charge this up just like a phone. And you can't do that with the iPad mini. So more charging options that are also better in my opinion. Now, the big thing here is because this is a foldable, you can see how much easier this is to travel with. This is just like an iPad. I really like it. I do a lot of reading and working on this, no problem. But when I want to go somewhere, when I want to hit the road, when I want to stop working, I can just slip this guy into my pocket. You can't do that with an iPad mini. You got to have pretty big pockets, I guess. But even today, I was meeting a buddy for lunch. He was running about 10 minutes late. Guess what I did? I just flipped open my tablet here, did some work, and then when he showed up, boom, closed it up, put it in my pocket. It was just like any other phone. So I didn't have a separate iPad that was sitting on the table the whole time that I had to worry about, that I had to have with me just in case my buddy was late. So it's far more travelable. The other thing with this is that this is obviously a phone, and so you are always going to have that cellular capability. If I get an iPad mini, it's going to generally be the most affordable in the Wi-Fi version only. But if you want to be roaming, like I was at a restaurant, and be able to work, you're going to have to use the hotspot on your phone or connect it to Wi-Fi. This obviously will connect to Wi-Fi like the Wi-Fi iPad minis, but because it's cellular, I don't actually have to step up to the cellular version of the iPad mini either. So it's actually more connectable, in my opinion, in ways that really matter to you. I don't actually want to open this up and be like, oh, shoot, where's my phone? Let me turn on the Wi-Fi hotspot, then I'll connect it here. I just want to open it and get working right away, which is what you can do with this. The other thing that's really awesome about this, and I just pulled up a YouTube video here, is that I don't need a case stand to put this in a way that is usable for me. So if I just go ahead and fold it like this, what we get is this really nice, well thought out layout by YouTube here. So it puts the video on the part that is facing me, gives me a control panel right here so that I can control everything. And I can actually sit down at my desk or a table or in an airplane seat or wherever and actually have a really good view of this. I don't actually have to have my iPad sitting in my hands here or have this origami-like case to stand it up and be useful. In fact, I could put a keyboard down here and type an email. So it actually has more standing options by default in its base configuration than the iPad mini as well. The other thing I want to show you is that we do have a camera right there and have the Zoom call pulled up here or Teams meeting. This camera is available there and it's a very good camera. But if I want to use the front-facing camera or the back cameras, they are excellent 4K cameras. And so do you have those kinds of cameras on the iPad? Really, they throw a camera on the back to me that's just barely passable. It's kind of an iPod Touch camera. And so if you want to film or take some video or something like that, you can do it on the iPad. But you have back, front, and internal cameras here that are all extremely good. And so the cameras are better here as well. If you really want to take really good photos, really good video, save some memories, capture those special occasions, you're going to want this, not the iPad mini. And obviously, by default, this thing is meant to be a phone, and it is a phone. And so it's going to save you that extra device. I can just pull up the phone here, call my friends, take a call. I'm not going to miss anything. I'm not going to have to reach in my pocket and see what else is going on. Obviously, this takes two devices in the iPhone and iPad world and turns them into one. And I will tell you what, when this thing is folded like this is really thin. It might be a hair thicker than my iPhone, but it's not thicker by much. And it's so thin that generally I don't notice it being any different, especially when I'm grabbing it in my hand just like this. Man, it feels just like every other smartphone I've ever held, which is really, really nice. Now, that's all well and good, right, Pete? Because these are all things you sold me. I like the portability on it. I like the fact that I can actually be productive with. I love the fact that I can fold it up or unfold it and have a tablet or a phone when I want it. But, Pete, this thing is going to be really super expensive. And obviously it can be. If you want to buy a brand new one, they can be like $1,300, which I don't really think is all that bad. Think about what your iPhone and an iPad mini is going to cost you. It's going to cost you more than that. But what I want to tell you is that I got this one. It's in pretty nice condition. I have no complaints with it. I bought it on eBay with a buy it now, so I didn't even wait to have the patience for an auction where I might have gotten a better deal. But this one is the 256 gigabyte version, and I bought it for $699. $699, and I think that's because there's just so many of them out there. The iPad mini in this version, the 256 gig, Wi-Fi only will be $649, so it's just slightly more expensive. I think it's actually pretty comparable. And the thing about this is if you want it with the cellular service so that you can use it anywhere that you go, like I am using this, that's going to be $799. $800 versus $700 for the comparable device that doesn't fold, that doesn't fit in your pocket. So I think that this is better because it's everything that you want, when you want it, and it is actually cheaper than the iPad mini that I would be choosing as well, which would be the Wi-Fi cellular 256 gig version. So if you want better cameras, portability, more versatility, less tethering, more freedom from your office, then I would definitely check out a Google Pixel Fold over the iPad mini. I think it's a no-brainer. I have been using this for a few weeks now, and I am absolutely loving it. And I have got my iPad mini on eBay. So if you want to pick up this, I will put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.